Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into the Chevrolet Groove 2025.
Right. We've gathered what the source material is saying. That's reviews from international sites and some Arabic ones too.
And our mission here really is to just cut through everything and pull out the key takeaways. The main drawbacks, the main advantages that these sources pointed out.
Exactly. Give you a clear, quick picture.
So you get a fast understanding.
Precisely. And looking across these reviews, it's an interesting mix. Lots of trade-offs. Maybe we should start with the downsides, what the sources flagged most often.
Good idea. What about how the car actually feels to drive? Driving dynamics.
Yeah, so several sources kept bringing up the engine performance. It's got that 1.5-liter engine, puts out about 110 horsepower.
Okay.
And the main point was reviewers felt this made it, well, noticeably less powerful than quite a few competitors in that compact crossover space.
Ah, okay.
So if you're really after quick acceleration or, a sporty feel, this probably isn't it. That wasn't seen as its strength.
Gotcha. So maybe not built for speed thrills then. What about the actual ride? How did it handle different roads?
Well, the suspension setup, it uses McPherson struts up front, torsion beam in the back. Reviewers described it as being tuned mainly for city driving, urban use.
Right.
What that means, really, is while it might feel okay on smooth city streets, the sources definitely noted it could feel quite stiff, a bit bouncy, even when you hit rough patches or bumps.
And steering. Did that play into the driving feel?
It did, yeah. Steering precision came up. Some reviewers found it lacked a bit of feedback, felt maybe less precise than they'd like,
Especially when?
particularly at higher speeds, like on highways.
Yeah.
The feedback suggested you might need to make more little corrections to keep it tracking straight, which, can affect confidence when you're going faster.
Okay, so performance limitations, a bit of stiffness on rough roads, and maybe some vague highway steering. Those were drawbacks in the driving experience. What about inside the car? The cabin?
Right, the interior. That was another common theme. Sources pointed out a lot of hard plastic surfaces being used pretty much everywhere inside.
And the impression was?
They felt it gave off a relatively, low-quality vibe. Perhaps not quite matching what buyers might expect for the price, or if they're looking for a more upscale feel.
And noise. Related to driving, but from inside.
Yes, engine noise. Specifically mentioned as being quite noticeable in the cabin, especially when you accelerate hard. The reviews suggested this could definitely impact comfort, maybe get a bit tiring on longer trips where the engine's working more consistently.
Okay. Moving over to practicality.
Yeah.
Cargo space. How did that stack up?
For a compact SUV, the trunk capacity was noted as being somewhat limited, at least compared to some direct rivals.
So something to check if you haul a lot of stuff.
Exactly. If maximizing boot space is really high on your list, the sources suggest you double-check the numbers against what you actually need.
And safety systems. You mentioned that came up too.
Yeah, this one's interesting because it's kind of a mixed bag, which we'll get to on the plus side later, but focusing on the drawbacks first.
Right.
Sources pointed out that while it does have the essential safety features, it seems to be lacking some of the more advanced driver assistance systems, things that are becoming pretty standard on certain competitors now.
And the implication.
Well, this was seen as potentially lowering its overall safety appeal compared to vehicles that offer a wider range of that tech.
Right. And finally, on this side of the ledger, price.
Price was mentioned, yes. The reviews tended to describe the 2025 Groove as relatively expensive
Compared to?
compared to some other options right there in its class. The suggestion was that maybe considering the whole package, the price point felt a bit high against certain direct competitors.
Okay, so that covers the main criticisms from the sources. But like you said, it wasn't all negative. Let's flip over to the advantages these same reviewers highlighted, starting with the look of it. The exterior.
Absolutely. The exterior design actually got quite a bit of praise, described as modern, attractive, got these bold lines, a distinctive front grille they mentioned, and stylish LED headlights.
So visually it stands out.
Sources seem to think so, yeah. Felt it had a pretty strong presence on the road.
And inside. Despite the comments on materials, there were some positives. Space, tech.
Yes, definitely. The cabin is seen as spacious for its glass size, and the technology features were highlighted as a definite plus.
Like the screen.
Exactly. You get an 8-inch touchscreen, it supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is pretty essential these days for connectivity plus an advanced sound system. The overall layout inside was also seen as practical, and the seats comfortable.
Good. And back to safety, you said it was a mixed picture. What were the positives the sources brought up?
Right. So while it might miss some advanced features compared to rivals, the sources were clear that it does include the important standard safety systems.
Which are,
Things like multiple airbags, ABS, that's the anti-lock braking system, helps stop skids and hard braking, and ESC, electronic stability control, which helps keep the car stable if you lose traction. Plus, it has a rear-view camera and parking sensors. Definitely practical for everyday safety.
good to have those basics covered. What about running costs? Fuel efficiency was listed as an advantage.
Yeah, that 1.5-liter engine, while maybe not super powerful, is pretty good on gas. Sources reported figures around 11 to 14 kilometers per liter. That's solid. And it's got a 45-liter fuel tank backing that up.
And the transmission is a CVT.
Correct. An automatic CVT, continuously variable transmission. Reviewers noted this gives really smooth power delivery, no jerky gear shifts, and it also helps achieve that good fuel efficiency we just talked about.
Interesting. And ride quality also came up as an advantage. Wait, how can it be both a drawback and an advantage?
Yeah, that just reinforces the point about it being tuned for the city.
All right.
So while it might feel stiff on those rough roads that was tarred, the drawback reviewers found that same suspension setup actually provided good stability and comfort specifically in urban conditions.
So good in town.
Seems like it performs well where it was primarily designed to be used. That was the advantage noted.
Okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, a really big point of confidence mentioned was the warranty.
Yes, this was definitely seen as a significant plus. It comes with a pretty comprehensive 5-year or 150,000-kilometer warranty, whichever happens first.
That's quite long.
It is. And on top of that, 5 years of roadside assistance. According to the sources, that kind of package offers substantial peace of mind for owners.
Okay, so let's try and sum up the picture these sources are painting here. You've got a car with a design that people seem to like, a functional interior with the key tech, pretty good fuel economy, and then this really strong warranty giving you that backup.
Right. Those are the clear strengths highlighted.
But based on these same reviews, you might find the performance a bit, well, underwhelming compared to rivals. The interior materials might feel a bit basic. The ride could be stiff if you're often on rough roads. Highway steering isn't its strongest point. Cargo space is okay, but not huge. It misses some newer safety tech, and the price might seem a bit high depending on what else you're looking at.
It's definitely a vehicle with very distinct strengths and some clearly reported weaknesses, a real mix.
So thinking about all that, what does it mean for you, the listener? Given this specific combination that the sources highlight, strong points like that long warranty and the fuel sipping, balanced against these noted limits in driving feel, interior quality, how did these particular trade-offs, the ones identified right here in the review, square up with your own personal must-haves when you're considering a compact crossover? Definitely something to think about.